Hey,
Uh,
here's
well,
what's
I think I've
happening
always been
today.
interested,
Let's break it
but
down.
several
We're
years
covering
ago
a
I
few big
started
stories.
taking some acting
Trump's
classes and
plans for
voiceover
mass
classes, and
deportations,
been doing it now for a
changes to
while.
diversity programs,
I enjoy it.
wildfires in Los Angeles, Thailand's big move on same-sex marriage. Let's talk about deportations first. There's a lot of tension around this. Americans are split in their opinions about Trump's immigration plans. What's the general feeling? Well, after 4 years of record immigration, much of it illegal, most Americans seem to support stricter measures. A recent Times Ipsos poll found that 55% of people are in favor of deporting all undocumented immigrants. This dissatisfaction with Biden's looser immigration policies was a huge factor in Trump winning the election. So, does that mean people are all in on mass deportations? Not exactly. Here's the catch. Only 38% support using the military to find and detain undocumented immigrants. Only 34% are okay with separating families as part of rapid deportation efforts. It's clear that while many want action, they're not on board with every method. What's Trump's approach so far? He's wasting no time. In just his first couple of days back in office, federal officials are prepping raids in cities like Chicago, where there are large undocumented populations. The Justice Department has told U.S. attorneys to prosecute local officials who refuse to cooperate. How might people react? It's tricky because Americans' opinions on immigration are really complex. Most people support some deportations but want limits on how far it goes. Could Trump face backlash? Totally. It's happened before. Remember his family separation policy in 2018? The public outcry forced him to backtrack. His first-term attempt to repeal Obamacare fell apart because voters pushed enough Republicans to join Democrats in opposing it. Now, if his administration starts deporting immigrants who've built stable lives here, we could see a similar reaction. For instance, there's Jaime Cachua, who's lived in Georgia since he was 1 year old. He's married to an American woman, has kids, and told his Trump-supporting father-in-law, "I've never felt like a foreigner until now." What about the Democrats? They need to be careful not to misread public opinion. Some might argue that Americans only support deportation in theory, but that's not true. Here's why. During Obama's presidency, over 3 million people were deported. His administration focused on undocumented immigrants with criminal records and those who recently entered the U.S. This balanced approach, tough border security and pathways to citizenship, was actually more popular than Biden's policies. And now, earlier this week, Congress passed the Locken-Riley Act, which calls for deporting undocumented immigrants charged with crimes like burglary, theft, or assaulting police officers. It had bipartisan support and is set to become the first law Trump will sign this term. What's next for Trump's immigration crackdown? It's still unclear, but it's likely to be a mix of policies. Some measures will probably have wide support. Others could stir controversy, especially if they feel too extreme. A few other immigration updates. The U.S. canceled flights for thousands of refugees who were already approved to enter. The Pentagon is sending 1,500 troops to the southern border by the end of the month. Mexico launched Mexico Embraces You, a program to assist deported citizens, but experts aren't sure if it's ready to handle the scale. Biden actually deported more people in his first term than Trump did, partly because there were more new arrivals. North African countries, with help from the EU, increased deportations of sub-Saharan migrants, which has slowed migration to Europe. What about diversity programs? Trump is targeting them pretty hard. What's happening? Federal workers are being asked to report colleagues who keep diversity programs running, with consequences for those who don't comply. Trump also revoked a 60-year-old rule that banned discrimination by federal contractors. How are companies reacting? It's mixed. Some, like Costco and Microsoft, are sticking with their diversity programs. Others are scaling back, likely out of fear of being investigated. Trump's cabinet and other key moves. Sean Curran, who led his campaign security, is now the new Secret Service director. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., known for lawsuits over Merck's HPV vaccine, will keep his financial stake in those cases if confirmed as health secretary. Trump's pushing for quick confirmations of his nominees, but Senate Democrats are slowing the process. More on Trump. The Justice Department has halted new civil rights investigations and might back out of agreements with police departments on misconduct. Elon Musk is questioning the funding of Trump's AI initiative, which involves OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle. Tariffs on products from Canada, Mexico, and China are set to start February 1st. Federal health officials were told to pause public communications, including updates on bird flu. Trump's pardoned militia leaders are calling for retribution against those who investigated the January 6 attacks. His retreat from clean energy policies could hand the global market to China. Now, let's go international. Thailand. Same-sex marriage is now legal. Couples celebrated with a mass wedding in Bangkok. Turkey. A fire at a ski resort hotel killed 79 people, including families and a young swimmer. Gaza. After a ceasefire, Hamas is back patrolling the streets and protecting aid deliveries. Australia. A rise in anti-Semitic attacks is shaking the Jewish community, many of whom are Holocaust survivors. Wildfires and winter storms in the U.S. A wildfire near Castaic Lake in Los Angeles forced tens of thousands to evacuate and shut down schools. Freezing temperatures in the south have left many areas at a standstill after a winter storm. Opinions and sports. Opinion. Jennifer Granholm, Biden's former energy secretary, says Trump's attack on clean energy could benefit China. NFL. The Jets hired Aaron Glenn, the Lions' defensive coordinator, as their head coach. Tennis. Ben Shelton, an American player, criticized local media at the Australian Open for disrespecting players. That's the rundown for today. Have a great day.